Hello, welcome to another episode of Data in the Hallway. For this episode, I'm very excited to welcome my colleague Chris Devatos, who's our DevRel manager for TiDB. And actually, if you watch a lot of our videos, like the tutorial videos on YouTube lately, you may have already seen like Chris on the video, so he might be a familiar face. Chris, welcome. Thanks for joining us from Las Vegas.
Ray, thank you so much.
Yeah,
It's such an honor to be on here. I've been
yeah,
seeing you doing these podcast interviews for such a long time, so I'm
yeah.
glad I could be a guest.
It's long overdue. Honors all mine. So yeah, so we're going to talk about a topic that's pretty near and dear to my heart. I mean, there are a lot of things about the TiDB community that I really love, and one of them is our annual hackathon. So our annual hackathon is here. Chris, you'll be managing the entire event this year, so I'm sure you were excited, as is everyone else. So wanted to talk to you about everything that's to know about this year's hackathon. And I think, first of all, I think we have a new name for this year's hackathon. So tell us a little bit
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
name, the background, and then what we can expect. So
We have a new name, but first,
yeah,
I just want to
yeah.
say thank you for trusting me with this hackathon because this was your baby that you've led last year as well. So, I'm glad. I'm thankful that the torch was passed to me. But oh my, this you put in a lot of work last year, and because of that, this year is a lot easier for me. So, thank you. Uh, Now that the torch was handed down to me, though, I changed the name and the theme of the hackathon.
Yeah.
So this year's hackathon is actually so last year's hackathon was kind of broad. This year, our hackathon, we kind of want to focus more on agent, right? So this year it's called the TiDB AgentX Hackathon. Why? Because agents is everywhere. I mean, that's what everyone's talking about. That's what everyone wants to build. And so the theme for this year is called Agent X. And when I say Agent X, you can kind of like think of multi-step AI agents, not just like a one and done RAG demo that everyone does, including me. Right. So we want to, and the reason we're doing this is because we really want to push the boundaries and see what folks can do with TiDB Vector, right? Like really push the limit. So this year, what developers will need to do in this hackathon is wire together anything with vector search, what if it's full text search, maybe a complicated semantic Q&A app. I'm not sure how you'll do that. But even on top of that, anything with agents or like build a multi-cluster placement. And for those who don't know what that is, or it's also called MCP, which is now unlocked with TiDB, where you can like geo spread your agent logic with just like one click, which is kind of cool. And We're actually building some pretty cool sample apps to help you get started right away. Like for example, I built a semantic Q&A app. It's very basic, but I have all the code there. And then all you need to do is just literally clone or copy my code and do whatever you want to do on top of that. So our goal this year is to make it as easy as possible for people to start building, like as frictionless as possible, if that makes sense.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I'm sure people will notice that the event is in much better hands. I mean, I had the honor of doing it like last year, and I mean, it's awesome that the torch has been passed to you. And I also love the name Agent X. It reminds me of a spy novel, which is
That's
cool.
true. Really. Yeah. I
Yeah,
didn't even
yeah,
think about that. Yes.
yeah. So I mean,
Isn't
that
it,
was
that's
my
interesting though, because before when I think of agent, I think of like 007. Now it's
yeah.
AI.
Right. So no, it's cool. Like it has a double meaning almost, like a kind of
Yeah.
mysterious and agentic AI. Yeah, and I mean, what was kind of cool about the past two hackathons is that this has been done typically over the summer. This coincides with like a new technologies that we want our community members to sort of try out. 2 years ago, it was serverless,
Mhm.
which is bright and shiny new thing. Last year, like you mentioned, is vector search. And in terms of new technologies this year, like Chris, you alluded to, that we have full text search capabilities that people can
Yep.
try out. And I know some of the community members have experimented with that and already provided us with feedback. So if you want an environment where if you want to experiment with like the new features, I think this is a great way of doing it to because some of the feedback I heard from past participants is that all the prizes, which we'll talk about in a minute, those are nice. Obviously, that's a great
Yeah.
bonus, but a lot of people enjoy it even if they don't win because they get access and have experience with our new technologies and features. And with full text search being one of them. So
Yeah, and like
yeah,
compared to last year, I think that's when we just started to dive into AI technically. Like, I mean, we released vector capabilities with TiDB, which I think is freaking amazing. But like now this year, we have built so many new AI features that would make the developer's life much easier. Like for example, I think it just went to GA, where you can now do vector search with hybrid SQL filtering, right? And for those who don't know what that means like when you store embeddings in TiDB, you can now also run similarity queries in SQL and then apply those filters that you want without needing to touch another server. So this is like all built in. Or we also have native, yeah, we mentioned it, native full text. So you can do full text search now, right? Full text search now with TiDB. There's just so many more things you can do now because of, it's been a year since we've launched Vector. I think it's been more than a year. Yeah, more than a year
yeah,
already.
yeah, little bit over a year when it became generally available for beta.
Yeah.
But like yeah, like you said, there's obviously maturity just in the vector, but other AI related features as well as you mentioned, and then we also have a lot of content, like a lot of new blog series around developing AI applications, which I'll in the episode description I'll be sure to like include them in addition to the new hackathon page. So yeah, I mean it's pretty exciting. I've seen you present at other like a meetups that we've done locally. Based on questions and discussions during those meetups, like a lot of the discussions about how do I build better AI applications. So hopefully
Yeah.
people have a chance to do that. So,
Actually, on top of that,
yeah.
what folks are mentioning, and also thanks for volunteering me for all these talks. So now I'm traveling. Absolutely, DeRay knows this. I'm terrified of flying, like absolutely terrified of flying. But now I'm flying like every month, or maybe it's multiple times a month to give these talks. So no, I appreciate it. But
Yeah.
because I'm giving these talks and I get to talk to actual like developers, which is great. One thing that a lot of folks are saying is, wow, it's like they would ask me, Chris, so you build a semantic Q&A app just like that, but you made it sound so simple. And I would tell them because it is. it's it's less than 300 lines of Python. Right? Of course, you need to have particular like LLMs or whatever. Like for in my example, I use AWS Bedrock embeddings. But like, yes, it's easy to build AI with TiDB. And that was the goal. And it's funny because my goal when I give these talks, and you know this, I'm not trying to sell TiDB at all. I'm just trying to show what I built. And then people affiliate that with, wait, you can build something that easy with just TiDB alone by itself. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I alluded to prizes earlier. So tell us about some of the prizes. I mean, this is, I'll like I said, I'll add a link to the event page so that people can take a look. But this is obviously like a frequently asked questions. Tell us about the prizes that people will have the opportunity to win in this year's hackathon.
Yeah, so it's pretty much the same as last year. So folks have the ability total grand prizes are it totals up to 30,500 bucks. And this is crazy because first place can win $12,000. And like, I mean, I build something. I'm always trying to build something every week, but like, I'm always trying to build AI tools just for fun, just to get better as a developer. But the fact that you can win $12,000 for building something using TiDB is kind of crazy, right? So first place gets $12,000, second place gets $7,000, third place gets around I think 3,500, and then so on, so on. But on top of those five places that you can place in, we also have two additional special awards, which is called the Social Good and Open Source Award. So a Social Good Award is if you build anything, whoever builds the best thing for humankind in general, if you don't win the first five, if you don't place in the top five, you could win $2,000. And Best Open Source Award, exact same thing, but using 100% open source tools, which I think is always amazing. And if you can do that somehow, to place in the top five, more props to you. And let's say you don't place the seven cash prizes we're giving away. Our top 30 finalists will also get hoodies, I believe stickers as well, and maybe socks,
Cool.
swag bag
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. And because we're talking about prizes too, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Thank you to AWS. So we actually have two judges from AWS this year. Um,
Nice.
then one from Streamlit, aka Snowflake, DeFi, and Sheet Zero. So shout out to
Yeah.
them. We're having more sponsors coming on, but we'll keep them
Yeah.
secret.
Cool. Cool. No, I mean it's having sponsors, especially outside judges, have been amazing because that they also provide a lot of interesting feedback to us as well, not just about the event,
Mm.
but because they're interested in seeing how people are developing tools on their platform, for example, like like on AWS Bedrock, or if somebody used Defy, like they're interested to know how what the use cases are. So I think they appreciate their feedback, which is always nice. And yeah, I'm also happy that we're keeping the tradition of those special prizes, which are always nice. And you mentioned open source. I mean, it's amazing. I forget what the percentage is from last year. I think majority of the submissions were open source anyways. Like I don't know if how big of a factor that prize is, but obviously all of us at TiDB are passionate about open source, and it's gratifying to see especially young developers just starting with open source tools and software. So which is we're definitely looking forward to what people will be submitting. So
It's great too because like 2 years
yeah.
ago there weren't that many free AI tools,
Right.
right? There weren't. It's all paid. I mean, not all paid. When I say all paid, ChatGPT, right? OpenAI
Right.
API. That was it pretty much. And now Facebook came out with their open source LLM, and not just that, they made it good. They made it
Mhm.
competitive with Anthropic, with ChatGPT, you name it. So there's so many, not just free open source tools out there, but very good open source tools that can compete with
Right.
the best.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's been amazing. I mean, even like last 12 months, right? The proliferation of like a new open source tools that have demonstrated such maturity it's been pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's been pretty fun to see. So so after prizes, I think the second most questions that we typically get based on my experience in the past 2 years is, could people want to know, hey, what kind of applications can I build? And I think you alluded to some of them, and I believe we'll have a section on we do have a section on the event page
Yeah.
listing some of the examples, but tell us a little bit about like some of the like the sample applications that people can consider and think about.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of you can build. There's a lot of things that you can do with this. I don't like giving this answer, and it's because if I give this answer, this might have been something someone want, wanted. This might be something someone would have wanted to build. And so if I give this answer, they'll be like, "Dang it, now everyone else will build that." But I'll do it anyway. I'll
Yeah.
do it anyway, just to give folks an idea what you can build. So like one example is a field service agent that can like and so what I mean by field service agent is something that can like let's say you're working on the field, you snap a picture of a broken part. Let's say you're fixing tractors, right? My friend has a company that fixes tractors. You snap a picture of a broken part, you run a vector search on your repair manuals, and then have an LLM walk you through each step to fix it. Yeah, so I think that's a cool idea. Actually, I hope no one builds that. Can we cut that? I'm gonna build that and I'm gonna sell it. But but that's an idea. That's an idea. I think that's a great idea. And if you become a billionaire off that idea, remember to talk to me too and buy me a house. All right. So another idea would be like, I know we have Chat GPT for this. You can do this with Chat GPT or with Google's AI as well. But I think a study companion could be great too. A personalized study companion that where you can load your syllabus, you can load your textbooks, and then from there use hybrid search to find like the right context, and maybe even generate practice quizzes complete with hints. Especially if you can build this all open source, where you don't have to pay $20 a month to use ChatGPT or Gemini, you name it. I think that could be great. There's a lot more, but I think another cool thing that you can do is like, especially for businesses that might want to use this, is build like a customer support workflow where it could take incoming tickets, and with those incoming tickets, you can vectorize a text to find similar past issues. Actually, I tried to build this. I failed at it. All right, you can pull knowledge off that and then help draft custom email responses to customers having problems or questions, right, with their issues. So yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot you can build, and we'll have a complete list of this too. And if you actually check out the TiDB developer YouTube channel, Actually made a video on how I built my Q&A app, semantic Q&A app. Pretty
Right.
simple, and on there you'll have the link to all the code, and you can just copy paste that and build and get ahead of the game. If yeah, get ahead of the
Cool.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I appreciate you doing that in true open source fashion, like giving people access to your repo and the code. Yeah, and then I think you note this in the event hackathon webpage, anyways. Like along with the list of ideas, there's a final note that this is for inspiration only. I'm sure
Yes.
people will have even better and
Better.
more
Yes.
exciting ideas. I mean,
Yes.
as
Don't
we
build that first idea. No one
yeah,
needs to build that
yeah,
first idea.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it's exactly what we saw the past couple of years. We give like a long list of suggestions, but people come up with something new. Like,
Mm.
there was people that were developing applications in like around sports last year, which was kind of cool. Like a novel use cases that like a lot of people haven't like I certainly haven't thought about. So I think there are a lot of interesting things that people can explore. So the door is wide open. I think is our message. Don't be limited to these ideas that's listed on the hackathon page, but be creative and people can even ask questions, which leads me to the next topic. If people have any questions or if they want to get feedback on their ideas, like where do you suggest people go? Like,
Yeah. To answer people's questions, we are having a webinar where we have folks from AWS giving a talk
mhm,
from Snowflake, Streamlit, and I believe maybe I'm not sure if DeFi will be giving a demo. I'll be giving multiple demos on there too.
mhm,
So and while we give those demos live, you can ask us questions there. It's the date's not
right,
set yet, but that'll be on our hackathon website soon. And then we plan on doing at least two like office hours and AMAs with
mhm,
one of our software engineers.
cool,
I'll be on there
cool,
too. We can ask any questions. And then, of course, if you need help around the clock, sometime around the clock, when we try to get back to you as soon as possible, is our Discord. So we
right.
have our Discord hackathon channel where you can ask away and maybe hopefully get help from other folks participating too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I got DMs last year, like speaking of Discord, like they were starting to build an applications and they say, "Hey, can I just run an idea by you?" And
Oh, yeah.
I was happy to provide feedback and also offer encouragement. I mean, they people had like a novel ideas that wasn't on ours, like a suggested like idea for projects, and I all I can do is like encourage people to explore their own ideas. So yeah, definitely Discord, like especially if you can't join those office hours or
Yeah.
webinars like live or synchronously, but if you
Yeah,
can
DM
post
me
questions
directly.
there, yeah,
If you want
yeah,
to DM me directly, and I
yeah,
have access to everyone in at Pink at TiDB as well, so
right,
I can literally just DM one
yeah,
of the engineers like, "Hey, can you help me out with this?"
right,
So
yeah. So don't be shy about asking questions, and I think we like around the clock we do a pretty decent job of monitoring
yeah,
questions. So
we do
uh,
have TiDB.ai too. So
yeah, that's true.
TiDB.ai, where you can go
Yeah.
there and ask anything about TiDB, and it should be able to answer most of your questions.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, we're looking forward to another like a successful event. Obviously being, having a agent theme for this year's hackathon, we're going to attract a lot of people and hopefully we'll get to see some fun interesting and novel projects. I mean, the output from us, beyond participation in general, is seeing what kind of experience people have with our TiDB, obviously, but you know interesting use cases that people are experimenting with. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're definitely looking forward to it. So. Cool. Like anything else on the hackathon? Like any parting thoughts on the hackathon that you want to
Oh,
leave us with?
actually, yeah. So
Yeah.
last year's hackathon was 30 days long. This year it'll be about 45 days long.
Right.
So you have some
Yeah.
extra time. And the reason we did that is because I think you told me about this too. Last year, we had folks who didn't hear about the hackathon until like maybe a couple days before the deadline. So
Right.
unfortunately, they couldn't participate, but they could have probably built something pretty amazing. So we want to
Right.
give folks some extra time.
Yeah.
This,
Yeah, that's awesome. Like having 2 extra weeks. I mean, we had like one participant, like they ended up submitting their project, but they only had like a week to do it. So I really felt that was very unfortunate, but wait, appreciate you addressing that. So yeah, having extra couple of weeks, extra 15 days, will give people a chance to further fine tune their project. And even if you find out about the hackathon a little later, you wouldn't be at a huge disadvantage. So it's cool. Awesome. So yeah, I'll include like links to like the resources we talked about, like blog posts, like different videos, hackathon website, links to like webinars and office hours if we have them available when the video is when this podcast is published. So hopefully people will check them out, and I encourage people to participate. So cool. So yeah, thanks for educating us about the TiDB AgentX Hackathon this year. The final question, which is our tradition, is to ask our guests. It's a travel tip related question,
Hmm.
and as I mentioned earlier, you live in Las Vegas. You're joining us from your home. Yeah, I think like even if you haven't visited Las Vegas, people have some idea what Las Vegas is because it's a very popular place that people show on movies and whatnot, and people see concerts and different
Yeah.
performances. But I, I wanted to ask Chris, like if you can tell us something about Las Vegas that like non-locals may not know about.
Yeah, so when you think of Las Vegas, you think of the Strip, you think of maybe the Las Vegas Raiders, which is still weird because I grew up in Bay Area. I like the Oakland Raiders, and I believe the Aces are moving here too, which is so
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone's just leaving Oakland, but so we have those teams, and hopefully a basketball team. That'd be great. That's what I want. But when people think of Vegas, they think of that. But what they don't know is just the surrounding neighborhoods around Vegas. There's a lot of surrounding neighborhoods. There's Henderson, there's Lake Las Vegas, but one in particular is actually Summerlin. And so when I think of Summerlin, some people might make fun of me in the comments about this, but when I think of Summerlin, I kind of think of Beverly Hills, not because it's where like it's super rich area, but it looks like you're in Beverly Hills, like downtown Beverly Hills, Beverly Hills Boulevard and etc. You see, and you have all these super nice malls where you don't actually feel like you're in Las Vegas. And then surrounding Summerlin is called the Red Rock Canyons or Red Rock Mountains. And because of these beautiful Red Rock Mountains, which are gorgeous, you actually have around 200 miles of biking trails for those who like to bike. So people don't know this, but we have thousands of people cycling, like road cycling on our roads all over Summerlin. Like it's crazy. It's scary too because like I'm trying to drive around them. I don't want to hit them. Hoping my self-driving Tesla doesn't hit them. It's nerve-wracking. But like we have like thousands of them biking around here every single day. Even believe it or not, in the midst of summer when it's 115 degrees, which I
Oh
won't do.
wow.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's it's a totally different community where they built Summerlin where you don't even feel like you're in Las Vegas. So
Right.
yeah, so that's where I live. I love it. I don't like going to the Strip because there's so much traffic. But
Hmm.
yeah, if you ever come to Vegas, check out Summerlin. We have amazing like outdoor malls too, where they have everything that you look for, even in Beverly Hills, actually. I can't
Nice.
afford those stores, but maybe they can.
It's available. Yeah. Cool. Well, if you win one of the hackathon prizes, maybe you can afford to buy something there.
Whew,
So,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Cool. No, it sounds lovely. Like 200 miles of bike, like a bike path. That's
Trails,
a
yeah.
bike lane. Yeah,
And
bike trail.
actually,
That's amazing. Yeah.
it's and then it extends into additional 2,000 miles of bike trails all around the area of Summerlin too. So
Okay.
there's a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if you're a biker, you probably want to check it out. Like, I think like only times I've been to Vegas is typically for work, and you're stuck around the strip area where all
Yes.
the casinos are and where the convention
Yeah.
centers are. And yeah, obviously that's a very limited view of the Las Vegas area that,
Mhm.
that people are just limited to. Cool. Well, thanks, Chris, for joining us. I wish everyone great luck with if you're participating in the hackathon, and we'll talk to you again soon.